afternoon, and welcome to Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen. This is where you will meet some of the most intelligent, talented, and creative people that are willing to share resources, tips, and knowledge. I am so excited today that I have two incredible performers with me. Sakai Smith and Nikita Germaine, aka Les Femmes Fatales. So you'll hear them talk about their musical journeys as singer-songwriters and members of the Grammy Award-winning group Train, and everybody loves them Train. So they'll talk about that a little bit as we get into the interview. So before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about them, and then individually I will interview them, and then collectively. So this dynamic, talented duo is a powerful combination of music, glamour, and style. They are songwriters, recording artists, and fierce live performers who enjoy touring and rocking the stage. Singers Nikita and Sakai are also members of the Grammy Award-winning group Train. So know that they will talk a little bit more about that, and I'm sure they're going to have some surprises for you when they do. So let's get started with Miss Sakai Smith. Before we get into the interview, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited. Thank you, Kelly.
So Sakai, you know what? Before we start your interview questions, let's walk down memory lane for a second. Do you remember how you and I met?
Gosh. I know, must have been through Michael Axon, correct?
And your husband, Kevin.
Okay.
So Michael had introduced me to Kevin. And then when you and Kevin started dating, I was like, oh, how cute. And then the next thing I know, they got married. Then the next thing I know, they got kids.
I know. Quite a
Been
journey.
in this family for a hot second, so it's
ma'am.
It's been beautiful.
It has. And we're happy to call you extended family and a part of our village. It's such a joy. I remember you making such cute little outfits for our kids, and we still have their little painters.
Aprons.
Yes. When they were little tiny tots.
And now
I
when
still
I
have them.
Saw them, they're taller than me now. So
Nairobi is all legs. They're both taller than me and running track like nobody's business. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so Sakai, tell me, where were you born and raised? Give us a little bit of your background.
All right. Well, Bay Area born, raised in the Bay Area, Peninsula, Mountain View, grew up many years there as well. And it has just been a joy to grow up here in the Bay, with all my fellow musicians, and I've met so many beautiful people, in the industry growing up here in the Bay Area. But yeah, born in the Bay Area. My grandmother was the hub, as we call it, right? So spent many years as a family, would gather there throughout the years for all the holiday seasons. And I have so many fond memories growing up in Oakland. And right there on 12th Avenue in Oakland and Foothill. And that was the beginning. Me standing in the mirror with my brushes and all kind of wonderful things taking place. My grandma and my mom bought me a piano, and that's where the inspiration for writing began. And just great memories right here in the Bay Area girl.
And you were definitely a part of that Bay musical scene, the Bay Area musical scene. People know your name, you and Nikita. So now tell me this, Sakai has worked with some of the biggest names like Stevie Wonder, Chaka Khan, Aretha Franklin, Quincy Jones, and even Celine Dion.
Celine Dion. Mm-hmm.
Celine Dion. So tell the audience about your involvement with Celine Dion's A New Day record.
Well, I'm so I listened to A New Day Has Come, and I am actually the lead-in voice. I'm the first voice that you hear on the A New Day Has Come. That's me.
Yes, indeed. That is so beautiful.
Yeah, it was a joy to I worked with I don't want to butcher Walter's last name. I can never get it right.
Afanafis.
Thank you. So I can't pronounce it correctly. I don't do it justice, but he produced that track for her over in Marin when he was here in the Bay Area. He worked with Nada a lot, Walter. Afanasifis. That's probably not correct. I'm sorry, Walter. But anyway, yeah. So I went over to do the session, and I ended up doing the lead-in part into the song. So that makes me happy every time I hear that song.
That is beautiful. Now, what types of jobs did you hold before you were able to do your work full time, to be a performer?
Ooh, Aman, the Jamaican man. Oh, wow. No, for real though. Okay, so as I started my career, my very first tour was with Tremaine Hawkins. Okay, so then that was fall touring, and I was planning for a summer wedding, my first marriage, and I ended up having children. So music was in my soul, but I decided to kind of leave the career as a full time and get into just, mothering and being a wife. I didn't at that time think I could balance it all. And so once I got married, I got a job. I got a 9-to-5er, but it was just such a wonderful thing. I worked with AAA for many years. They were so supportive though. So music was so deeply a part of me and rooted in me. I felt sad. I felt it was a very sad place. And the marriage didn't work out. I was encouraged by my mom to go back what I'm here to do on this planet. And that was music. So for me, I was doing a few sessions here and there, but when all of that happened in my life, I made phone calls, and it wasn't like out of sight, out of mind. It was like, girl, thank you. Where have you been? We want you to do sessions. It was such a blessing. It was like the gates of heaven just opened up for me when I went back to what I was supposed to be doing on this planet. And so I worked. I did my 9-to-5. I was in a cover band with Larry Batiste, Nikita Germaine, Margie Leo. I mean, we had just a great group of musicians that were a part of that. So I did that. I did session work. I was doing everything to not only maintain my little family. I had 3 children that were depending on me for everything. And fortunately, my mom came in to help me so that I could change the way that I was viewing everything. And that would be pursuing my career.
Yes.
I couldn't do it full time, but so I worked at AAA, kind of like an all-round girl. I worked in the DMV department. I did customer service around. I was an assistant to management at one point. I mean, there was a few things that I did, and I started out answering all their phones. When my eldest he was like 13 months old when I went back. When I went into the working field at AAA. So I did that, and I just kind of juggled it all with the mindset of when I got out of that relationship, I knew that the goal was to be doing what I needed to do. So however that took place, that's what I did. And I juggled it all. Even when I did a autobiographical play with Patty Austin for a few months, they allowed me, I went in part-time though. I went in part-time. I started full-time. And then after I had my 3rd child, I went in, this was when divorce was happening. And so I was off with her at the beginning. And then I knew that I needed to get back to work. So I went back part-time, and my mindset was strictly like music, come. And that's when I was telling you, I made all those calls, and it was just such a beautiful experience to jump back into music. But I was still, took a little while for me to get into music full time. And if you want to talk about that, I can.
You know what? The reason why I asked that question, because I think it's important for aspiring performers to know it doesn't happen overnight. And so when they get to hear that, oh my gosh, she had a job, it really helps. Now,
Absolutely.
the other thing I have for you is that I remember you telling me that Clay Tobin was your interest. Clay Tobin Richardson was your entry into the music industry. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that for me?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so when I got into session work, Clay Tobin, I met Clay, and Clay, I met him actually during this time of, there was a company with Carlos, Lovejoy Records. I met him during that time. And I forget how I met Jimmy, but Clay was there. Clay loved my voice. And I got a chance to work on 2 records. One was with Chaz and one was with Jane Green. Okay, so, but I was getting my feet wet, but Clay was the impetus for me to really get into the session work. He took me under his wing. I would go with him on sessions and watch him, Vicki Randall, Annie Stocking do these sessions. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do, and he introduced me to Narda. I mean, so he was really like a really great mentor for me. It really, a lot came through the beginnings of my professional career as a recording artist, started with Clay Tobin.
Sakai, I remember when you gave me a copy of your CD, Dream Big. I fell in love with the song I Like. Your voice was very soft and so sweet. I said, is it Janet Jackson? And then the more I heard it, I said, no, she's a little stronger. So that's a beautiful song. So
thank you.
What was the reaction when you heard the completed project? And then it was out there for the ethers, for people to
Wow. It was really such a surreal moment for me, because over the years, by the time I did Dream Big, Kev and I were married at that time, and 2 more kids. So we have a total of 5 kids we raising. But we recorded that basically. Most of that was recorded where we live now, in our studio downstairs. A lot of Dream Big was recorded in that studio. And to hear it completed, to see it, to touch it, to feel it, and then to hear it on the radio, I mean, it was just wonderful. It was so wonderful. And that's still one of my favorites, and it translated really well live as well, performing it live. It was one of those sweet songs. So, it had to have a little bit of texture and hold back. I had to hold back a little bit on that, and vibey. It was very vibey. But it was just so beautiful, Kelly, that was actually our second record. I don't know if you know that. Ain't No Miracle was first, right? We did. We did get
that one.
Okay, well, I gotta get you that one. That was done first, but Dream Big was, I think, really very special, because I had evolved as an artist. You always are evolving as you record, and I had so many wonderful things to talk about. I think Ain't No Miracle, it was a lot of pain in that. And so it was nice to transition into, it had some, it had some flavor on it. I was talking about some life issues in Dream Big, but there was so much beauty in it as well. And so for me, that was awesome. That was really amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you, my dear. So now we're getting ready to Miss Nikita. Nikita Germaine.
Yes.
So Nikita, it's definitely finally a pleasure for me to meet you. I feel like I know you because I'm traveling with you guys with train.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you, for sure.
So Nikita, tell me a little bit about your background. I understand you're a Bay Area native.
I am. I'm from Oakland, California, born and raised. I'm the youngest of, my mother had 9 children. I have 2 older sisters who's no longer with us now, but by my father's first marriage. I've been singing since I was a little girl. You let my sisters tell it, through the house, running through the house singing. First talent show when I was like, I think I was like 9. I was at my elementary school, my first talent show, when I first did a song by myself in front of a whole lot of people. And my mother and one of her coworkers came to the show, to the performance, and I did a song, and we laugh about it now. I don't know if you remember Millie Collier. Ever heard of her? Millie Collier. I had a talk with my man last night. That's the song I sang a cappella at 9 years old.
That was a grown-up song.
It's funny now, but that's what I did. And then as I got older, of course, I, continued singing, being in talent shows. And then as I got older, singing throughout the Bay Area, in different clubs. Jeffrey Pete, at the time, had Dock of the Bay. And he was the first club owner that gave me my first paying gig in clubs, but let me backtrack. Before that, I was Merritt College. I went to Merritt College after I graduated from high school. I went to LA, came back to the Bay Area, went to Merritt College, joined the Traveling Voices with Jackie Harrison. And I used to do a little show, I did a showcase. That was one of our assignments, was to do a showcase. And I was at Jeffrey's Club at Dock of the Bay in Berkeley. And after that, he gave me my first gig, paying gig there. And from there, I started singing throughout the Bay Area, different clubs, Ivies. I don't know if you remember Ivies back in the day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. His lordship.
You just answered all of the questions that I was going to ask you. I saw where you went to Merritt College, where you studied music, and at San Francisco State University. What led to that decision for you to go to school and to take those on as your music as your major? Because music, that's what I did. Music, I've always wanted to be a singer. I thought I wanted to be a teacher, right? Then I was like, no, I like to sing. So, and I thought that would help me as far as going to San Francisco State. I took some classes like classical music. So I could, I had to sing classical, music. So that helped with that training. I had that training over there. And then just singing at Merritt College with the choir, it allowed me to learn how to sing with other people, to blend. It helped with all that. So that was very helpful to me, and I didn't get a degree or anything, but the training was very important for me. And then I took some private lessons outside of school as well. And that's why I wanted that question for the audience to hear, because whether you graduate or not is not even important, but it's like what you said, you got the lesson. Yeah. It was, and you were able to take what you did learn, and that's just perfecting your craft. That's what you did. Yeah. So I commend you for that. That's beautiful. Then my other question that you led into was, I saw that, to really get your feet wet, you started taking yourself out, booking yourself into all of these different clubs. Yeah. What were some of the lessons that were learned from that process of being, a singer in the different clubs and booking yourself, and then finally coming through that? So if someone was to do that right now, what would you tell them the pros and the cons are? Well, at the time when I started that, I was married at the time, and my husband at the time was actually booking my gigs. Okay. Stephen Houston. Okay. It was a great experience as far as, learning how to, ask for what you want, learning as far as business side of it first, don't just, at that time, you don't get paid a lot of money, but you have a band, so you got to make sure everybody's taken care of. And nicely, where they will want to come back and play for you. Don't give them, just anything. Give them. You can't pay them what they're worth, but they understand that, give them enough where they want to come back and work with you. And you have to be professional with everybody. Be on time. Owners, they appreciate that, being on time at the gig, doing your show. Have your set together,
as far as your material for the musicians and making sure everybody's in place. And just, and I learned that from watching other people before me, going to clubs before I can really get into clubs. I was kind of sneaking, watching other people. So I just learned how to be professional, because you don't want to burn bridges with people when you work with them. So that's very, very important, where somebody will call you back and say, can you come, when people start asking for you to come to their place, Yeah.
So you build up that reputation and
Yes,
taking care of, building up a positive reputation, and then taking care of your band members. So key. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because this is loyalty, it's fair.
Yeah.
And it just shows that, we're all in this together.
Yeah, right.
So because you couldn't sing without them.
Right. Because you have to treat people like you want to be treated. So, and that's important.
Exactly.
That's very important, because this music business is not easy. You love it, but it's not easy. Yeah. So
now, Nikita, your career took off when you were introduced to Nardo Michael Walden. So could you tell our listeners a little bit about him, what that was like working with him, and the slew of incredible artists that you got to work with because of that?
Yeah, well, I met him in '85. A friend of my husband, I knew him, but he was more of a friend of my husband at that time. His name was London. I think that was his name, London. He brought us to the Nardo's camp back then. And I remember walking into the studio, and I guess he had prearranged everything. Nardo knew I was coming. But when he came from the back of the studio, it was like, hey, Nikki, like he'd been knowing me forever,
Now, Nikki, can you do me a favor? Now you got me calling you Nikki. So can you tell people who Nardo Michael Walden is? Because some of our audience may not be familiar with the name, but they know his work.
Yes. Well, first of all, he's one hell of a drummer / one hell of a producer, songwriter, right? Singer, and a wonderful person. That's who Nardo is, who's written and produced so many wonderful artists in the industry. That's who he is. And when I first met him, when I went in the studio, I knew I was going to go in there singing, but I didn't know I was going to be singing background on Aretha Franklin's Who's Zooming Who album.
Oh, yes, indeed. What a way to start. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, right. And it was Jeannie Tracy was there, Preston Glass, who it's been so long ago, but it was so many wonderful people. And I want to say Sylvester at the time was there. I think he was in the studio that day. So I was just, I was younger, and it was just like, I'm in awe. I'm in the studio with this fantastic producer, these wonderful people, meeting them for the first time, so it was a great experience. And then that was the first time I worked with Nardo, '85. And then that was the first and last time. Years went by after that. That was it until '93. I got a phone call out the blue, and it was a young lady from his camp, and it was South Dakota. We've been looking for you, all over for you. They didn't, I was like, I disappeared. I guess they thought, but somebody gave my number, and they asked, was I available to come into the studio, do some session work? And I've been working with him ever since then, on and off, did background on sessions for Shanice Wilson and Tevin Campbell. Who else? Lou Rawls. God, it's just so many. It's just so many.
So wonderful. And I'm looking at you. Just you lit up just talking about it. So you can tell.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. I believe I think, were you on a session with James Brown, Sakai? Did some background with James Brown?
I think so. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The soundtrack for Alita Adams for that movie.
Yes, we did that.
Yeah. And then I had the pleasure, of doing, I had wrote a song, and it was called Take Me Higher. I let Nardo hear it in his office. He liked the hook. so much where the song became Dinah Ross' song, Take Me Higher, her song that she sang at the Super Bowl one year. So that's my hook that I created. So I'm co-writer on that song. So that was a pleasure.
You know what the funny thing about you, Nikita, you always answer my questions before I get to ask you. It's like, okay, this girl is jumping ahead of me. So you come sit in my seat and interview me.
Sorry.
So I was going to actually talk to you where you said at some point you were actually on the Motown label yourself with your own album, As Sweet as It Comes.
Yes.
And then, you ended up co-writing that song with Narda. So talk about your experience on the Motown label.
Well, that was awesome. And I met this young lady. I was doing a session at Narda Studio, and this young lady named Delana was in the studio with us. And she had a song. She let myself, and I think it was Tony Lindsay at the time. Tony Lindsay was there. Hear the song, and the song was so beautiful. I said, "Oh, I would love to sing this song." And I asked her if I can record it because I'm getting ready to go to Atlanta to a music conference called Jack the Rapper, and I needed a song. Remember Jack the Rapper?
I remember Jack the Rapper.
Yeah, and so did the song. She let me do the song. I recorded it. My husband at the time and I flew to Atlanta to Jack the Rapper. Was there. One of the days we was there. We sit at a table with myself, my ex-husband, Derek Hughes, and then this lady comes to the table that Derek knew. Her name was Iris Gordy, who was Berry Gordy's niece, and he introduced us. I gave her my packet. By the time I got back home to the Bay Area, checked my voicemail. Hi, Nikita. I think she called me Nikki, actually. This is Iris Gordy. Gonna, give me a call back. So I'm up like, what? So ended up calling her back, and she was saying that she was coming to the Bay Area and she wanted to, what was I doing? And at the time, I was singing at Jeffrey Peace Club that was on 2nd and Broadway at the time, right? So she came, some affiliates came to see me perform, and Derek Hughes and I was singing together at that club at the time. And moving fast forward, she ended up signing me to Berry Gordy's record production, which signed me to the Motown. So that's how that came about.
Yay!
Yeah.
Berry Gordy is my idol, girl. So to have that, I was so excited and thrilled for you. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said that was an awesome time, when that happened. Very exciting. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, what I would actually like to do, guys, is to interview you guys collectively, so we can talk about Les Femmes Fatales and your work with Train.
Yeah.
So, tell me how you guys connected, how you guys got to know each other, and then how you start working with Train, and then what you guys are doing now. But we're going to go slow. So first, let's just talk about how you guys met, because you guys have a 30-year relationship, right?
Oh, yeah. Over 30 years.
Yeah.
So I'll let Nikita tell such a great story. So I'll let her tell that part, how we met.
Okay. Well, at the time I was at Merritt College in Traveling Voices, and we had the pleasure of going to this church called Church by the Side of the Road in Berkeley. And this, we had to go there to critique these singers, young artists. And I forgot the name of the program, Sakai, that you were part of.
Well, Victoria Thea and I were part of the UC Berkeley program, the Young Musicians program. So we were in that together.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we had to go there to listen to these artists sing.
I think so. Excuse me, Nick. I think that was like Jabberwock, but Victoria and I, something like that. It wasn't directly through the program at UC Berkeley, but it was Victoria and I I did that with her. Whatever this show was. Yeah. Right. But we were there. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so we get there, and we're in a circle. They start performing. Victoria Theater start playing the piano. Then this they're both beautiful. But then when Sakai opened her mouth and started singing, I don't know about everybody else. I'm sure, and they probably would agree with me. I was blown away hearing her 15-year-old. They were both 15 at the time. And I was like, wow, in my mind, I'm thinking, damn.
You sound that good.
And what I was thinking was, she sounded, your tone to me reminded me of Phyllis Hyman, just rich and just, she had this big voice, but controlled. And she was singing this beautiful song, I'm Gonna Make It. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, I love how she sounded. I love this song. And again, here we got this young artist who wrote this song. I'm asking, can I sing your song in my show? I was singing at Jeffrey Peace Club, Dr. Bay at the time. But that's when I first met Sakai. That day. That's when I first met her. And then I met her again. Then I think it was at the show I hired you to sing.
That was a few years later. That was a few years later.
Okay. That's when we first met. Yeah. Then we got to know each other some years later, because she was working with at the beauty supply.
One Stop Cosmetics.
One Stop Cosmetic hair salon / beauty supply house, where my ex-husband was working doing hair. And I saw her there. I was like, oh, I know her, right? So it was just a small world, how we came together.
And auditioned for the new Traveling Voices.
Exactly, right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So guys, tell me, what is it like being with Train, and what's the life like being on the road? Because you guys, with Train, you guys traveled all over the world. So what was that like? What are some of the pros and what are some of the cons? And how did you guys not pull each other's teeth out? Did you guys get along all the time?
Well, you know what? Yeah. Let me just say, I can speak for myself, and I think you too, Sakai, but for me, it was just a cherry on the top, being on the road with Sakai, who I love, to the moon and stars, and we get along. Nobody get along, to the point where every day you don't agree on everything, but it's okay to agree to disagree, and we love each other enough to realize that, and we get along, and we choose to love each other and laugh. We laugh so much on the road. We have such a great time. We like a lot of the same things. I think that's, that helps. And we respect one another.
Yes.
That's important.
Absolutely.
And we know the importance of friendship and love. All that to me plays a part. And she's consistent. That's very important to me in a person, how consistent they are in who they are. And that's her. Oh, from the time I met her. From the time I ever met her. So that helps.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. I think she's beautiful.
I feel, she's my sister. She's my big
love
sis.
Fest. This is a nice love fest. So, what's it like for you?
It's real talk. It's real talk.
It really is. And it is absolutely not for everybody. It's grueling. It truly is. We love it. I know that's what I'm meant to do. But in all honesty, for me, having young kids at the time, we've been with Train for almost 9 years coming up. My babies were tiny tots.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of sacrifices that you make along the way. However, the balance of it all, sometimes the mommy guilt will come through, but understanding that I'm also encouraging my children to live their dreams, to show them that you can have a balanced life. And you create what's normal for you. My husband and my family and I, we created whatever's normal, the new normal for us, me being out on the road and switching roles. And these kids were doing amazing. Our first year out with Train in 2012, I think, Keto, you can agree, was the most grueling year. We did like 56 shows in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like you learn how to do it really quickly. Okay. Yeah. What it feels like and living with other band members, literally on a bus. And we have so much love for each other and respect for each other. Our brothers, our Train family, they're generally really like our brothers. I mean, literally, it's a joy to be out on the road. If we had to choose people, I would choose them. It's not a lot of drama. It's just we get our work done and we have a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it helps family. Too. I think too, because everybody have a family. They're married, have families, or they're not married, but they have a family, and family is important to them, which helps a lot, so it really
does. Yeah. And I knew Pat, I actually met Pat back in 2007, and my kids were like 13 months old. The twins were the youngest of 5 were 13 months. And I auditioned for him, and I went out with him on his solo tour. That's how we first met. And then in 2012, he called me and asked, he said, Sakai, do you think Kev would mind if you come out with us for the summer? And I was like, well, let me check in, so, cause he really loves Kevin, and so that it was supposed to be a summer thing. And Nikita and I had recorded on the Save Me San Francisco album. We did like 3, this was back in 2009. After I had gone out with Pat, he called me in, we did the session over here in San Francisco, and he wanted another vocalist. So I called Kita for that. And we did the session. And then in 2012, he said, do you know anybody else? Because I want 2 girls. And I said, do you remember Nikita? She did the session with us. He said, oh yeah, see if she wants to go. Well, Miss Thing was getting ready to go to Japan, with Narda on a tour. And when I called her, and I said, it's a great opportunity. It's a summer thing, and it might be really great. And so she said, she checked in and she said yes. So we prepared. We went to Vegas and auditioned. And we started singing before their show. It was a private, and they were like, "You want to do this? We'd love for you to do it," And they wanted us to start and go to, I think it was like Australia, Malaysia. They were going to do this tour before they tour the US. And I was like, well, oh my God, that's the date I'm supposed to be singing in my kids' school. So I'm like, okay, I don't like to be messing with things. Like, I don't burn bridges, right? But anyway, we had a laugh about it because it was also Nikita's birthday. And Pat was like, girl, Australia. I was like, okay, I'll go. And so that was the beginning. We did that first summer tour. It was amazing and wonderful and grueling and all of those things. It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. And then we went into 2000, the end of that tour. Management asked us if we would extend our stay through 2013. And then the summer of 2000, we did a lot of privates. We worked. A lot of privates throughout that year. In the summer, at the end of the summer tour, they asked us to become band members. Yeah. So we became official band members of Train, which is history in itself.
Yeah. Because we became wow. That speaks highly of you guys. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Yes. All right, guys. So now I want you guys to talk about your award-winning song, Is It Enough? And the meaning behind it.
Okay. Well, at the peak of the pandemic, that's how this song came to life. I was at home. I had moved from Nevada back to California, and I was at my daughter's. And I was at home. I just happened to be at the house alone, and I was looking at CNN because everybody was looking at the news. I was just glued to the TV about what's going on, what's happening. Can't go outside, and so I'm looking at the news and seeing how crazy it was, and how a lot of people wasn't taking it seriously. Our president at the time was acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and it was just crazy. So, and I was sitting there frustrated, and I was a little pissed because I couldn't believe people were walking around with no mask on, or just wasn't taking it serious. And I just remember getting up, and I was going to the back room for something, and I stopped in my tracks. Mind you, I wasn't trying to write a song. I wasn't thinking about a song, but this melody came to me, and these words literally came out my mouth. It's not enough to live. It's not enough to cry. And I stopped. I literally stopped. And I said, and I sang it again. I just kept singing it over because I just liked the way it sounded. And because that's how I was feeling. You know, I guess in my subconscious, I was feeling that. It just was, but it came out my mouth. I started singing it. Then I just went back to the couch and I started singing it in my phone, in my recorder, and got some paper. Before I know, I started writing. I had a verse and a pre-chorus, like a pre-chorus and a chorus. And I said, oh my God, this is a song. So I called Sakai because I was so excited. And I called her and sang it to her. I said, you got to help me finish this song. And we finished writing the song together. And then we let Kevin hear the song and he liked it. We made some adjustments to, you know, just to complete the song, to make it more universal. Because I know that's how I felt. I was sure other people was feeling how I was feeling with the words that I wrote, you know, but we wanted to make it more universal too, as well. And that's what people hear today. Is that enough? It was titled, It's Not Enough. Is that enough? No, right. Is that enough? And we changed it to question mark.
Is that enough? It was called It's Not Enough. And then we switched to Is that enough?
Question mark, is that enough?
Yeah, question mark, is that enough? So people could look inwardly and take accountability as opposed to blaming or, you know, pointing fingers.
Or, you know, and in regards to that, I went in my mind, I wasn't thinking it was, you know, writing it, that it was, you know, I was just, you know, just frustrated. It was more of a frustration of what I was seeing not being done. People wasn't doing enough, you know. There was people who were, but there's a lot of people just watching the news, they weren't. It's like, wow, are they serious? You know, but I like how it turned out. You know, it's a beautiful song, I think. And I think people, when they hear it, they get it. You know, it makes them look at, am I doing enough? You know?
Right.
What are some of the other projects you guys are working on?
Oh, wow. Well, we just wrapped up a new song. It's called Sleeping with the Rock Star. Woo-hoo-hoo. We just wrapped up the video. It is so fun. It's such a great song. It's all about empowerment. And you are the rock star. At the end of the day, you are the rock star. And so we had a lot of fun recording it. And we like I said, we just wrapped up the video about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Wrapped it up and got the video back. So we are anticipating releasing it very soon. There's some other things that we're working on. So we're gonna just hold off just a little bit until we finalize a few things with some other projects that we're doing. And we're excited, you know, some projects that are looking. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I was going to say some projects that may be really great for Is That Enough? So we want to, you know, give it our full attention. Is That Enough? And then we're going to release Rockstar, and we got some other stuff too. Yeah, this project is so fun. It's you kind of count it as our alter egos, you know. Right. That's good. Les Femmes Fatales. And it's, you know, we are like, you know, it's fashion, it's fun, it is about being authentic in loving who you are and your skin and just owning it, you know, and being fierce. Right. And then too, use your imagination. You got, you know, just be open to using your imagination. Of anything's possible. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. And we are living proof. Yeah. We are living proof. We are still doing this 30 years later. We are living our dreams. And that it's so beautiful to have this connection with Nikita as a sister and a friend. But the fact that we have literally experienced so many of our career highs together, you know, is incredible. And I would do it all over again. If I had one person to choose, it would be Nikita Germaine. Because we've seen each other go, I mean, really, from when we started from the beginning, from being married to having children, you know, now I'm a grandmother. I have a daughter. She's and that's another thing would have made it easy for me too. When I was in Motown, my daughter was very young.
and my parents, who was living at the time, they was very helpful and instrumental in, you know, taking care of her while my husband and I traveled at the you know, doing that kind of thing. And then now she's being with Train. She's an adult. She have her own family. So that made it easy for me to do Train. But it was hard for my girl because her babies were so young at the time.
Yeah.
You know?
And my daughter was transitioning to college.
Yeah.
My son was transitioning to UCLA. He had finished, he did his prereqs at JC, and then he was finishing at UCLA. So, but God had it so that those things were happening, those transitioning, that transitioning period it was such a, it was a painful period, but it was also just so beautiful at the same time to see my children flourishing and then also to, you know, now allow us to, you know, take our careers to a new level. It was just really beautiful. And to also, I have to give my husband 100% credit, because I could not do this without him. Okay. Saying, girl, do it. And I'm here. He is my biggest fan and supporter. And so we are quite a team, you know, and we do this. We do this together, and we are still creating music together. And it's really beautiful. So beautiful. I have to say that I have to give Kevin his props. He took 60 voices from different devices, put all those voices together to sound like one choir. And you'd never know. Yeah. So what you hear, that video that you see, he produced that video himself.
Yeah, is that enough?
He spent, yes, is that right? And he spent it was months, I tell you, day and night, getting that work, putting all that love in that video and the song. And so many, we have to say thank you to our musical family all over the nation who said yes to doing the video with us. Everybody said yes. We were just so grateful and humbled by you know, all the wonderful, as you know, Kelly, just Bay Area greats, heavyweights said yes. And so
they just everybody brought their A game. They did. It was beautiful. It really is.
That's nice. So, you know what? I like I said, I am so honored to have you guys here. Now my big question is, and you guys can tag turns going back and forth with, who were some of your inspirations?
Well, for me,
and it doesn't have to be musical inspiration, just your inspirations in general.
Well, I'm just going to say musically first. I'm going to say Gladys Knight was my inspiration growing up as a kid. Listening to her, I just love that Neither One of Us album. I think I played it out. Listening to Al Green and, you know, then the jazz. I love jazz because I sing jazz as well. You know, listen to the Nancy Wilson because my father loved Nancy Wilson. So we played that. That was played a lot in the house. And Dinah Washington, who my mother loved. I loved her voice, and Sarah Vaughan. But as far as my inspiration, my parents, because they just taught me, you know, to be who you are, love what you do, and just, you know, go for what you want to, you know, in life. And my mother was a strong woman as far as just who she was. She was consistent. Didn't pull no punches, you know. And I see the older I get, I become more like her, and, you know, just, you know, not to say taking nothing away from nobody else, but, or disrespecting anybody else, but love you first. Learn to love me first, then I can love somebody else. And my father embedded in me, treat people like you want to be treated. I think that's just, you know, just the most important thing you can learn in life.
Rule.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's golden rule for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, for me, are you finished, Nick?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I was fortunate to have my stepsister, Patrice Banks, was in Graham Central Station. So she was definitely one of my first influences in terms of like going to their shows and like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But one of my favorite musical performers was Natalie Cole. And I did I Got Love on My Mind from my fifth grade talent show, got a standing ovation. Okay. I was like, oh, but before that, I was singing, I Got Love on My Mind. And my mom was like, girl, if you don't be quiet, like she was like, she was that person. And then I sang Change. I joined the church choir and I sang Tremaine's Change in the choir. And she was like, okay, we take it. Okay. But, you know, I was like, she was like, for a while, like, girlfriend, please, you know. but Natalie Cole, I love Denise Williams. I loved Minnie Riperton. I loved Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh, I would play that record. I would play the live album over and over and over. I mean, I was like that kid. My mom loved music too. And but I would take those records and I just play them over and over. Chaka Khan. Oh, played her.
Who didn't love Chaka Khan?
Right?
Exactly.
Over and over and over again.
Oh, that's everybody's house.
Yes. So growing up, those were like really, and Stevie Wonder, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Like Michael Jackson. Those were like my musical inspirations. But of course, I would have to say my mom, she sacrificed, she took me to auditions. She, you know, made sure I got to wherever I needed to go on time. She had me in lessons. She was the impetus for me getting in the Young Musicians program. I mean, they were just like, she sacrificed a lot for me. And I'm just so glad that she has gotten the opportunity to watch my career grow. It's just, it really just, it's so precious. She's been through a lot, but she's still here. And, and I'm just so grateful. You know, and my dad was, he played every instrument by ear. He could pick up anything. And he was a great vocalist. So I got a lot of that from him. Now my mom, don't get in trouble. Don't let me get in trouble now. But she didn't, you know, her family, I mean, there's a lot of musical talent in that side of the family, but my gift, a lot of that, I think my dad poured a lot of that in me. So, but yeah. And Tremaine, I love Tremaine Hawkins. And it was such, you talk about not being in the mindset of just loving something so much and then years later manifested in my life. She was really the first artist that I went out on the road with. Yes. Amazing. Beautiful. Amazing.
Absolutely beautiful. So now what I want to ask you guys, and I want you to give me, both of you each, 2 pieces of advice that you would give to aspiring artists.
Okay.
Want to go first? Go ahead.
Sure. I would say, remember that you have to believe in yourself. It takes such, remember that you're a work in progress, and it is about, you know, the journey. So remember, you talked about things don't happen overnight, but there's such a connection in life when you have these little moments that are continuing you on your journey. Those are important. Don't stop believing in yourself when you hear no, when someone doesn't believe in your dream. You have the audacity to dream big. Yes, dream big. Don't stop. And know that with that dream, there comes some work. Because, you know, you can have the faith, but faith without work is dead. So you got to put in the time, you know, learn as much about your craft as you can, and put in the work. Look at your favorite artists, go out, audition, get in choirs, do the things that are necessary so that you become great and better. You know, I'm still learning. Remember that as an artist, we continue to learn. And so that's my advice. Don't give up. Don't give up.
I would say, and I piggyback on what Sakai said, because I totally agree with all that she said, because that's important. And I think another important thing is not to compromise who you are as a person or an artist. You know, if it's meant for you, it's for you. If it's not, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't, because trust and believe something better is going to happen for you. It's out there. It's there. If it's meant for you, nobody can, block your blessing but you. So don't get in your way. Try not to get in your own way. Just keep learning your craft, like Sakai said. Secondly, I would say, be sure it's something you really want to do when it comes to music, because it's not just singing. If you're going to sing, there's other things come with it, because with singing, you're going to have to perform. Don't want to sing and then be scared to get up there and sing in front of people, because that's all come with territory. You got to sing in front of people, and you just don't be sure that's something you really want to do, because it's a lot goes into it. A lot goes into it. Mm-hmm.
You guys have been so amazing. This is going to be an incredible learning experience for the up and coming talent, because I see right now they're not being nurtured the way that you guys were when you were coming up. They're just kind of thrown out there, and if it sticks, fine, and if it doesn't, oh well. And so to be able to have two experienced professionals sit down, take out the time to give some advice, I think I really appreciate it. I want you guys to know that. So my last question to you guys is, how can people stay in touch with you for your upcoming music and videos? Where do they need to go? What do they need to do?
Go ahead, Sakai. Go ahead.
Okay, so I know you were going to ask me this, and I should have had all my stuff together. Okay, so we're on IG, Les Femmes Fatales. You can go there. I believe it's LES_FEMMES.FATALES. That's on IG. On Facebook, you can find us at Les Femmes Fatales. Our music page, it's same thing, LESFEMMESFATALES, Les Femmes Fatales on Facebook. Please go to our YouTube page, yes. Which is Les Femmes Fatales. Look up Question, Is That Enough? Listen to the song and the video. Subscribe to our channel. We're going to have some fun stuff happening there very soon.
Share it. Share it. Like and share it.
Yeah, like and share. Thank you. And then you can find our music on all the streaming platforms as well, on iTunes and Spotify. And let's see. And please check out our website, which is lesfemmefatales.net. LESFEMMESFATALES.net. lesfemmefatales.net. We have some fun stuff that we're going to be posting, but you get to see us, and we'll be as we continue to grow, we'll be in touch a lot on that website. And we're just excited. We're excited about all the things that are happening. So yes, you can find us on social media.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kelly.
We can mention too, I think we can mention we have a podcast that we're going to be presenting soon. So be looking out for that as well.
Yeah. And you can actually check. Yeah, it's called Let's Talk. And you can check out just a quick interview with Nikita and I. We're just kind of having a little fun with each other, and we tell a little bit of our journey. There's one posted. It's just a little preview, so check it out.
But there's more to come. More is coming on that. Yeah.
I am definitely thrilled, and just know that in this particular podcast, all of your information will be there.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, look, I'm glad I could remember it, Kelly, because I said, "Oh, well, she's just gonna post it." But
yes, no, I definitely will be posting it. Yes. Yeah. So I want to thank you, ladies, for joining me on Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen, and I cannot wait to see that video.
Oh, wonderful, Kelly! I have to say again, it's a pleasure meeting you. Yes, you're very beautiful, and I love that wall back there. That's gorgeous.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly, for everything. You're such just an inspiration on so many levels, and I just appreciate you having us on and just being a part of my village. And it's just amazing to be here today and talk to you and share. Thank you so much, honey.
I appreciate it. Give my love to Kevin and the kids, okay? Well, they're not kids anymore, so
14, Kelly, 14.
I know. Can you
Crazy.
believe that? It's like,
No. And I'll be like, look, this. No, I won't say it.
know
But
what?
I'll
When
be
COVID is when COVID
14.
is over.
They are 14 and teenagers. Let's just.
Yeah. Well, see,
I love it. But it's been a joy being home, though, I must say. Being on the road for 7 years straight, it's been a joy to be home with family. So I do appreciate it. Yeah. And I love my babies, but they teenagers. Okay, I'm just saying.
Well, you know, I have a teenage granddaughter, so I know.
And she's so cute. Oh, she's beautiful.
Girl, but you know, she can give me that look like you're doing too much. So I and all I do is I remember when I was a teenager, and that's how I get through it with her.
Yeah.
Because we were just like that. You know, we always say these kids they're no different from what we really are.
It's so true. It's
just
so
know.
true.
Well, ladies, when COVID is over and finally out of our mist, I don't know if it'll ever really be out of the mist, but we will get to some type of normality.
Yeah.
We'll get together, okay?
That'd be
I
great.
would love to. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Definitely.
All right,
Thank
ladies,
you,
have a
Kelly.
great day. And
You too. Thank you
for listening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Blessings.
Blessings. Bye-bye.